What's going on, you guys? Today's video is going to be a little bit different than the normal video. I'm going to be having a Q&A video. I held a couple polls on my Instagram asking you guys what questions you guys had in regards to trading, psychology, stop loss placement, strategy, anything trading related. I'm going to be discussing a few of the questions, so let's get right into it. So there was a question, setting stop loss correctly and finding a good setup. So this comes down to understanding exactly how to read price. It's very important to understand that. It's not really the hard part in trading, but we'll get into that later. So setting your stop loss. So for me personally, I always, because I enter off of the 1 minute time frame, I always like to set my stop losses off of a 5 minute or 15 minute candle high or low, and it just depends on the setup. So typically, let's just say I enter in off of a fair value gap. Let's just say there was a 15-minute fair value gap that we trade directly into, and then we displace out of it on the 1 minute or maybe even the 5 minute. I will wait for that 15-minute candle that traded into that fair value gap to close before even considering entering my trade. Once that 15-minute candle closed inside of that, for example, bullish fair value gap that I'm expecting a reaction higher out of, I will have my set stop loss beneath that specific candle that closed in there, and then I'll allow price to trade out of it. So that could be an example. Typical stop loss placements for others may include, if you're expecting lower prices above an old high, or if you're expecting higher prices, then it will be beneath an old low. When to enter into the trade, if you're asking me that, you clearly don't understand how to read price. So typically I'll enter off of any PD array, whether that's a fair value gap, an order block, the sweep of an old high or a low, maybe even a breaker block or a mitigation block. If you guys don't understand what any of that is, you can comment down below or even shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'll pop up my Instagram right here. If you weren't a part of this poll or this questions, I'll pop up my Instagram right here. It's riyad.andrew. You guys can go ahead and follow me right there. Someone asked, do I trade ICT? Yes, I was actually mentored by ICT himself. I was a part of his 2021 private mentorship. I became a charter member, so that is pretty cool. Someone said, executing a strategy, I can draw resistance in all these lines, but it seems like I can't get the values right. So I don't trade support and resistance. I don't really believe in the traditional support and resistance strategy where you just draw a bunch of lines where old highs and lows match up, and then there you can enter off of. No, that has no narrative. It has no logic behind it. The markets are controlled by an algorithm. The market moves off of an algorithm that has two components, two roles that it has to carry out. And what are these roles? The two roles that the market or the algorithm has to carry out every single day is to rebalance imbalances and to seek liquidity. In order for price to be efficiently delivered, there needs to be both buying and selling at every single price point. So when price moves too aggressively in one direction, the algorithm is programmed to come back into these areas so that I could rebalance price so that I could be efficiently delivered. Second, liquidity. What is liquidity? Liquidity is the accumulation of buy stop and sell stop orders above old highs and beneath old lows. And the algorithm knows that there are resting buy stops and sell stops, so it is programmed to come and seek these areas of liquidity. So that is what, that is essentially in the grand scheme of things, how the market moves. Someone asked me where to start. That's a great question as well. Personally, if you have the capital saved up, I would say invest into a mentor. It's a lot easier to pay someone to teach you how to do it rather than trying to figure it out for yourself. I spent tens of thousands of dollars in losses and failed mentors trying to figure this stuff out by myself. But thankfully enough, I was able to find ICT. I was able to find even another mentor as well that helped me alongside my development journey. Now I'm fortunate enough, I'm able to help and mentor a lot of different students that are able to get crazy results. I had one of my students, Millie, actually created a case study video breaking down exactly how I was able to help him get to $18,000 per month. I have a lot of students making $10,000 plus every single month, thousands of dollars every single day. So, whether you decide to choose me as your mentor or not, that's completely up to you, but definitely find someone that you can trust, someone that you resonate with, someone that, upholds the morals and the beliefs and everything outside of trading that you do, align with and go with what, who you think is best. Someone said psychology. Psychology is majority of trading. That's what I would, deem is the most important part of your trading. I can teach you how to read a chart in less than 3 months, but the hardest part is going to be mastering yourself as the trader. When it comes to psychology, if you're not doing things outside of the charts that are beneficial for your own life, then you're never going to become successful in trading. You need to have a disciplined life outside of the charts. You need to have good habits that you're implementing on a regular basis, such as going to the gym. You know, as you can tell, I'm pretty jacked, so I have a disciplined life outside of the charts. Make sure that you're eating right, you're sleeping right, your habits. You're not watching things you know you're not supposed to be watching. You're not eating things you know you're not supposed to be eating. You're not doing things that you know you shouldn't be doing. You're not hanging out with those people who you know you shouldn't be hanging around, because the people around you are going to influence your behaviors. Everything starts in your mind, okay? Everything starts in your head. Your thoughts turn into your actions, and your actions turn into your habits, and your habits will determine the trajectory of your life. So you need to make sure that everything is in check. Alongside that, also, you need to be implementing strict disciplinary rules within your own trading protocol in order for you to ensure the most amount of success for yourself. For example, if you take 2 losses in a day, walk away. You also shouldn't be risking a crazy amount of money per trade, especially when you're on a funded account. They only give us such a small amount of money to work with, so you don't want to be risking 10, 20, 30% of the entire drawdown balance in one singular trade, and then you wonder why you blow your account. Someone said arranging capital, so that's very important as well. Nowadays, we're blessed to have prop firms that will allow us to trade with their money. Okay, we're obviously in a simulated experience with a prop firm, but you are given the chance to mimic a large amount of money, a large amount of capital, as long as you're able to prove to them that you're capable of managing risk. So as long as you're capable of managing risk and you have those skills, then you'll be good to trade with prop firms, and you're able to generate thousands of dollars every single month utilizing a small amount of an investment for that evaluation and activation fee. So finding stocks before they move heavily. So personally, I don't trade stocks. I only trade futures. I only trade NASDAQ, so I don't have to worry about searching for stocks. I'm not really an expert in stocks, so I can't speak on that in that regard. Someone said losing one trade, then revenge trading multiple times, changing bias, finally goes to your target. So one thing that I always like to do is I always like to write down my bias on a piece of paper so that I don't change it. And unless something on the charts tells me that we're actually going to change in direction, I'm not going to be switching my bias for the day. I've had multiple instances in the past where, you know, I think it's going to go up, and then I take a loss going up, maybe because I entered too early, or I didn't really pay attention to where price currently was. I was trying to force an entry. Then I switch my bias short, and then I get wrecked, and then I wonder why price just ends up going in my original direction. And it's because I just didn't trust myself. I didn't have enough conviction in my model and my understanding of price. I wasn't confident. I didn't spend enough time back testing so that I could be confident in what's going on in price. So make sure you write down your bias on a piece of paper, and you'll be good to go. Okay, again, another capital question. If you're struggling to find capital to trade with, go with prop firms. I currently use Alpha Futures. It's one of the best firms. You can use my code Riyadh. I'll pop it up right here. I'll even have a link down in the description down below for you guys to check out. Money, again, if you're struggling with money, go get a job, right? You shouldn't be trading if you don't have another source of income, because that's going to make it a lot harder for yourself to find profitability. Another question, I don't know where to start. You know, if you guys are wanting to work with me one-on-one, I do offer my own mentorship. You can click the link down in the description and work and apply to work with me. Over trading and over leveraging made me burn 10 PA. Again, you have to have disciplinary rules in place in order for you to not blow your accounts. Also, if you don't have a strict risk management protocol, then how do you expect to maintain your accounts? I actually developed a free risk management protocol you guys can check out also in the link in the description. I'll put that in there for you guys to watch. A good routine. For me, I wake up every single morning at the same time. I wake up around 7:30 a.m. I am downstairs taking my vitamins. I'm praying, making sure I'm ready for the day. I even sometimes go out in the sun if the sun is out, and then I'll drink my coffee, go to my charts. I'll set up for the day, send out my pre-market analysis to all of my students. I'll review everything, and then I start looking for setups at 8:30. I also make sure that I check the economic calendar to make sure that there's nothing else that I'm missing. After I'm done trading, I'll prepare my pre-workout meal. Then I'll head over to the gym. After finishing the gym, I'll run some errands, come home, cook another meal. I'll have student calls, one-on-one calls, whatever I have to do throughout the day. I'll go for a walk, do some cardio, whatever it is, just to ensure that I'm setting myself up for success. I'm also sleeping at the same time every single day, prioritizing 8+ hours of sleep every single night so that I am well rested, so that I can fuel my body, recover, and also prepare myself for the next trading day. I don't trade supply and demand. Somebody else asked a question about that. That's not what I do. I trade ICT. Someone said saving $1,000 to at least get started in trading. I struggle to save up. It can never be lower. If you're struggling to save up, you need to budget yourself a bit better. If you're making a couple $1,000s a month from work, you need to write down a list of all of your expenses and see where all that money is going, and try to save 20% of your paycheck or more if you don't have too much expenses. If you're in a trade, okay, and you're greedy, okay, someone just asked, capital and patience level when I am in a trade and too much greed. If you're in a trade and you're floating $200 and it took you less than 5 minutes to make that $200, and you don't even make $200 in a week going to work, why the hell are you greedy? That's retarded. You shouldn't be greedy, right? Because you just made your entire paycheck, your entire weekly paycheck in less than 5 minutes. Why are you being greedy? You need to put it in that perspective. A lot of people think that, oh, $200 at work is a lot of money, and then you're floating $200 in a trade and that's not a lot of money to you. Stop being greedy, because that $200 compounded every single day is going to replace your income. It's going to allow you to not have to work a 9-to-5 job. You need to start thinking in that perspective. Execution and trade management, again, that is a lack of understanding of how the markets run. Okay, trade management is quite simple. Every time price moves and creates a new swing point, whether that's a high or low, depending on your direction, you need to be trailing your stop loss. That is what I do personally, especially because I trade off of the 1 minute. So make sure that you're trailing your stop loss accordingly, you're taking off partials, you're managing your risk, and you'll be good to go. Again, I'm really struggling with correct entries, not able to catch market movements. That is, again, a lack of understanding of price. You need to, for me, entries are the easiest, right? That's the easiest thing to master. The hardest part is when to exit. Once you understand where to enter, the exiting is the hardest part, because every time you're in a trade, you have to constantly be thinking of, okay, should I exit here or should I continue to hold? You always have to reassess the risk at hand. Is it worth it holding that $1,000 profit that you have to potentially make an additional $200? For me personally, no. So either I will reduce my risk, take off some partials, or I'll trail my stop loss aggressively and then continue to hold my trade. What risk should I be using on my PA Apex account? That depends on the account size. A lot of you guys trade with 50K accounts. So if you are trading with a 50K account, I do not recommend that you go over 5 micros on a given trade, just because you only have 2,500 trailing drawdown, and that's not a lot of money. So you want to be risking anywhere from $125 to $200 per singular trade. So not knowing what time I should trade and scared to execute. So I determine the time in which I am trading based off of the economic calendar. So it's very important to look at the economic calendar. I use either Forex Factory, I'll pop up a picture right here, or Financial Juice, I'll pop up a picture right here. If you are trading on Alpha Futures, use Financial Juice, because there are a few extra news releases that show up on there. These news releases will tell you the exact time in which there's going to be an injection of volatility in the markets. The markets move off of time on the x-axis and then price on the y-axis, not the other way around. So it's very important to know the exact times in which you should trade and not trade. Someone else just asked, how are you able to find high probability days? That is also a part of the economic calendar. For example, today is a bank holiday. It is Memorial Day in the United States, meaning that there's not going to be a lot of volatility. So it would be irresponsible for me as a trader to be trading on a day where I know there's not going to be an injection of volatility in the market. That's going to make it harder for myself to manage my risk. It's going to make it harder for price to go in my favor. So I know that ahead of time by looking at the economic calendar, so I avoid trading on such days. Revenge trading. I see a lot of revenge trading and consistency. You need to focus on base hits. Get the minimum amount. If you know you can make, for example, if you know that every time you're in a trade, you're up $100, but every time you try to hold for $200-300, it ends up being a loss, or maybe you lose your profits, then just exit at $100, right? Take your $100 and go on to the next day, and that's it. That's all you need. Revenge trading. After you take a loss, you should do one of two things. You should either close your computer and walk away, or go do some push-ups. Revenge trading is a result of you wanting to make back that money immediately, right? You're chasing a dopamine hit. So instead of chasing a dopamine hit by clicking buttons and then ending up messing up your entire account, go do some push-ups. Those push-ups will generate you the same dopamine that you were gonna get from clicking buttons on the chart, but you're not at risk of losing any more money. Once you do that, wait for the next 15-30 minute candle, depending on what time frame you enter off of, and maybe if there's another setup, then take it. And if you take that as a loss for your second loss for that day, then just walk away. Waiting for good setups and revenge trades when I miss one trade. You have to understand that there's always going to be another setup. There's always going to be another trade. If you don't believe, if you can't fathom the fact that there's going to be another trade, then you haven't back tested your system properly. You haven't spent enough time working on your system. That is the reason why you don't have confidence. I have confidence that there's going to be another trade. If I miss a trade, I know there's going to be 100 more in the next week, in the next month, in the next year. There's always going to be another setup. The markets aren't going anywhere, so there's no need to stress or worry about missing your setup. If you miss it, okay, it's like a bus or a train that goes on without you. there's always gonna be another one coming. It's always gonna come back. That's fine. Just allow it to go, and then, you know, there's always gonna be another opportunity. This is gonna conclude the video. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a thumbs up, comment down below what you guys wanna see next. Again, if you're not already following me on Instagram, go ahead and follow me right here, Riyad.Andrew. If you have any other questions that you want to be answered, whether it's about prop firms, risk management, psychology, whatever it is, comment down below what you guys wanna see next. I wanna get to 10,000 subscribers. I hope I can provide as much value as possible. If you wanna work with me one-on-one, again, the link is going to be in the description. And yeah, that's gonna be it. I will see you guys later. Peace.